South Africa take on Australia in the first test at Hobart, and it's something that we're going to be looking. Oh, sorry, at the Gabba. So what we're going to be looking forward to is something that we are not sure about as fans. I feel from all the fans that I've spoken to, I don't think that we are 100% confident going into this test series, but hopefully we find a way to get a good result and to put on a great performance. So let's see what happens in this particular preview. We're going to be chatting to people. We're going to be bringing people on the show to also give their say. This is the preview for the first test between South Africa and Australia. And I'm looking forward to chatting to you guys about this particular game and seeing where we are at with regards to our preparation heading into this tournament. But before we get going, before this test series, sorry, before we get going, before we get started, please click subscribe, click that notification bell for all future videos. Please don't forget to download the latest issue of Cricket Fanatics magazine monthly. Every issue is 100% free, straight to your inbox every month. The link is on the screen as well as in the description. Marco Jansen's on the front cover, so please go ahead and check it out. It gives some nice insight into his mentality, and it's also a nice prep ahead of the test series as well. There's other things that you could also help us with, and that's by becoming a patron today. Please click on the link on the screen as well as in the description to help us promote and grow South African cricket. And also, if you want to help us grow as a company too, that's where you can help us by becoming a patron today. Then also go to cricketfanaticsmag.com for all regular updates with regards to previews, reviews, match reports, player moments, all of those type of things. It's all on cricketfanaticsmag.com. So without further ado, guys, I don't want to keep you guys waiting too long. Let's get straight into today's preview. A very good evening and welcome to Cricket Fanatics Magazine. This is your preview show. I'm your host, Khalid, and this is the show where we talk about everything that has to do with the test series on the first test between South Africa and Australia. Now, it's it's getting closer and closer and getting nearer and nearer, guys. The game is right on our doorstep, I would say. I'm looking forward to seeing what we can do, or what South Africa will do in this particular match. Now, there was an excellent little preview played on Cricket 7, I think it was, where I think it showed a nice balance about with regards to South African cricket and Australia's rivalry. I think that it was a video by Ricky Ponting was the narrator, and um, it's something that I think all of you guys should watch. Actually, it's a really interesting video that depicts both sides of the rivalry, how important this is, how important this rivalry's been over the years, etc. And what has been the tipping points in every single year that South Africa's played Australia. So I think you guys should go watch that video. It would be nice just for extra background, and it will hype you for the series. It was really a video that I looked at and I was like, wow, I'm really, really hyped for this particular series going into this series. Hopefully that South Africa can do what Ricky Ponting and Australia expect from South Africa. That's obviously put up a fight like we always have. Now, that's the thing that we want to see and what we hope for. When it comes to this rivalry, I've covered 2 of the test series away from South Africa. So, and in my experience from covering South African tests, there's never no drama. There's always something that happens, either off the field, on the field. There's always something that happens between these 2 teams. I highly doubt that it will be any different with everything that's riding on this. This is the first test series, complete series that South Africa is playing against Australia since the ball tampering scandal. Yes, they played a game after they ball tampered in New Zealand, yes, in Johannesburg, and got completely smashed. But in this particular series, this against Australia, this is the first time they're meeting each other in a series since that ball tampering scandal. So there's a lot riding on this. There's obviously Steve Smith and all of that. They around too. David Warner, all of those guys that were part of that particular team. And we also got a South African, Marnus Labuschagne, or Labuschagne, if you want to be Australian and try to do the buzz term for him. But Labuskachni, I'm going to call him, and he's going to be playing with a vengeance as well. I like his attitude and the way he plays the game. I know a lot of people find him annoying and irritating, but me personally, I like the way he approaches the game. He plays it with passion, but also he shows a little bit of fun. Like he's enjoying it in the middle, which is important for players to also enjoy their job and doing those type of things. But this is not my preview on what my points are alone. This is obviously going to be a panel discussion as well. So I'm going to bring on Nazir with me, and I'm going to bring on Stuart Judge as well with me. We're going to be discussing this game and talking about. I don't know why I'm saying preview. It's supposed to be preview. My bad. So let's let's see what you guys think. I mean, massive clash. There's been a lot of conversations about first and foremost about the lineup. I think that's where we can maybe start. I know we had a call-in show earlier in the week where people called in and gave their thoughts. I never got Nazir's thoughts on this though. He's normally a little bit controversial in his thoughts, but that seems to be like some of his things that he does say that a large majority of people actually agree with it. So, Nazir, on your point, from your perspective, your thoughts on that 7-5 or 6-4 split with regards to South Africa's team. What do you think is going to be key to us winning this particular match?
Uh, to be honest, I don't have high hopes for the series. I don't think we're as bad as many people say, but I also don't think we're as good as the rankings suggest. Well, with that being said, our bowling is extremely strong. I think our bowling lineup can take 20 wickets against any team. But when we look at our batting, we don't have a single batsman averaging above 40, which is extremely concerning playing in Australia, against that lineup. Uh, so I would like to have said seven batsmen, but I don't think the seventh batsman. Which seven batsmen are we going to choose? You're going to pick seven batsmen for the sake of picking seven batsmen, not because seven batsmen deserve to be there. So I'm still going to go with, I think we have 4 or 5 bowlers who 100% deserve to be there. So that's why I'm going to go with a 6-5 split.
Judge. Okay, we lost to a judge. So in that all-rounder role, who are you going to play in that all-rounder role?
I'm going to go with Janssen. I think against Australia's batting lineup, it's so strong. There's probably going to be times where we need to change up what we're doing. Even though we have a good bowling lineup, I think we're going to need different points of attack against them. So Janssen brings in a different variety with his tall, pacey. Yeah, hopefully the wickets are a bit bouncy and he can benefit from that. So I'm going to have Janssen at 7 and Keshav at 8. And then obviously Inkidi, Rabada, and Norkia, of course, those are the other bases for me.
Yeah, excellent. So what I'm going to do here is I want you to do this with me. I don't know if you've watched Malibongwa Makita's press conference yet.
Yeah, I have.
Okay, cool. Because I haven't yet. I think let's react to it because there will be interesting points that will obviously be brought up, and I think it will give us a nice insight into coming into this particular series. So I'm gonna watch it now for the first time. We did put up a story where he speaks about taking 20 wickets, etc., and that how important that is for them to take 20 wickets, etc., to win the match. He believes that they have the right team to be able to do that, of course. So let's have a look at what he had to say. I'm going to react to this right now, of course, and see what he has to say and what his attitude is going into this match. So let's check this out.
Well, that's a contentious one. I do believe we've got enough in terms of our attack to be able to take 20 wickets. And for me, Test cricket is really boils down to who can get the 20 wickets. I think the ball is going to play a big role in deciding which way the series go.
Ads again. Oh no. Okay.
Yeah, we're getting close. We had a look today. Speaking to the groundsman David, I don't think he's going to take off any more grass. but we will have a look tomorrow and make the final decision. We're getting closer though, yeah.
Seems very chilled so far.
It's a bit of a gamble, isn't it, to go with just five specialist batsmen and a keeper. But your priority, you've said, is taking 20 wickets.
Most definitely. Wickets that we've played on in the past have been a big challenge in terms of offering all three, movement and bounce and a bit of seam. Whereby here, gauging by the nets, obviously we don't play in the nets. It's been a truer bounce. It's been more consistent bounce, so to speak. So we're going to have to back our batters to score the runs and our bowlers to take the 20 wickets.
Obviously, Mali, you want the batters to be doing the bulk of the job, but without having probably a general all-rounder, certainly not a batting all-rounder. How much do you look at some of the bowlers that you've got on your side, like a Janssen, for example, who previously batted quite well in England?
Yeah, we've prepared him. We're growing him in terms of his all-round ability, and he's got the ability to do something special with the bat. From that point of view, he's in work in progress with the bat, and we know he could and he is capable of being part of at least 250 partnerships in terms of our way we go about things. If you look at how we've played in the past, our bowlers have allowed us to get into good position by getting 350 to 360. So from that point of view, partnerships are key for us. And the bowlers know their role in terms of those partnerships with the top order batters, and that has worked well for us. And yes, we are challenging our bowlers to contribute to the bat, and it's a space that we're growing well in.
With Janssen, his development's been quite elevated in the time that he's played Test cricket. I think he's got a strike rate in the late 30s, so he's really done the job for you. How do you see him as where he's headed and where he's come from to get where he is now?
Very excited. We know he's had it's been a sharp rise, and we know for a fact that people around the world have taken note, and they will be coming up. I'm sure now in this series, it's going to be a different challenge. People have seen enough of him to come up with different plans. But when it comes to his performances, we're very pleased because he gives us the variety we need for our attack. And in terms of pace and height and the areas that he hits, it sets him apart in terms of a lot of the other left armers. Yeah, it's an exciting prospect for us.
It's obviously now.
I think that's interesting that that the Australia journalists have particularly highlighted Marco Jansen in this press conference. It's a pretty interesting point over there. Stuart, your thoughts on that? Are you going to favor that now after you've thought about it a couple of days? Or are you still into the 7-5 mindset or 7-4 mindset? Sorry. 7-4.
I'm still leaning towards the 7-4. But like it's not, how can I put it, as clear cut for me, if that makes sense. If they play at the 6-5, depending on the conditions, I'll be happy. But yeah, I think Marco Jansen, as you've highlighted in the previous videos, is going to be very, very important in the series. And yeah, the only question is with our bowling lineup in the first test, who do you actually leave out? And Gerald Coetzee is now knocking on the door as well. So it's going to be a very difficult call, especially with the bowling lineup in the first test. But I definitely think Marco Jansen is one of the first players I'd have in the team. My question is just where would he bat, like at 8 or 9?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. And for me personally, when it comes to this, it's not necessarily a debate for me. It's not a Messi versus Ronaldo vibe. I think it's a 6-5, 7-4. I don't really care. I think that whatever they pick, I'm gonna back. From a statistical, not a statistical, but a tactical point of view, when I look at it, I've obviously broken it down in this way. We think that any of the new batters that get an opportunity, they're going to be thrown in the deep end, no matter who we pick, whether it's Tiernus, whether it's Heinrich Klaassen, whether it's Kai Zondo. It's going to be tough for them, no matter what happens. So for me, I think it's more possible that they'll fail than than not, because in cricket you do fail more than you succeed, but the chances of them failing is higher, I feel, than them succeeding. I'm hoping that they're going to succeed if they do go through and then that particular thing happens. So I would go with something that is a little bit more safe, in my opinion. I think that having Jansen, KG, and Keshav, I think that as a collective, they can put on the runs that one batter would be put on in that number 7 role, for example. That's what I think.
Yeah.
But you can't also bank on that. They could also get ducks. You don't know what can happen in Australia with regards to this game. So I would go with either or. I see there is a split in the comment section about this. But let's see what Malibongwe said further on. If there's anything else that stands out. So far, it's very straightforward, dull-ish. I mean, Malibongwe is not necessarily a guy that is very expressive. He's a very quiet and reserved person, even when you speak to him in person off the record too. So he's a very calm, collected, and calculated man. So I'm getting exactly that from this interview. But let's continue.
A while since you played Australia in Test cricket, but it's been a while since you played here at the Gabba. We know Australia's record up until obviously a couple of years ago here at the Gabba, but what makes it so hard for an opposition team to come here and get a result, especially in the first match of the Test series?
Well, it's one of those venues where a lot of the players will give you feedback that they feel the crowd is on top of you. And the confidence the Australian team has gained in playing here in terms of the history, obviously that plays a psyche in terms of how they approach the games here. But for us, coming off with the youngest team, it's exciting for us. It's something that we're really looking forward to. And looking at the past 2 seasons, the past 2 years in terms of first inning scores and all of that, it's been competitive games, which means that you need to stay in it the whole time. And for us, it's something that we're very excited to be playing here.
I don't care about Ocean Basket. Man. It's like the worst restaurant ever. Can you see the skip? Thank you.
Part of the test tour here last time you were here. How big a part has he played with some of the younger bowlers, just in terms of advising them how to go about it here in Australia? One of the things you often see when a visiting attack comes here, particularly,
Good question.
they'll get carried away by the bounce. They might bowl a bit too short.
Yeah.
Is KG having an important sort of leadership role in the bowling attack?
Yeah, most definitely. He's still young, but in terms of experience and having been here before, it's something that a lot of the other bowlers are using to lean on him in terms of information. We've been quite clear in terms of lengths that we want to hit. If you look at the Wanderers, it offers the same, more or less, where you can get carried away with the sexy bounce and you've been ineffective. So we've been working hard on making sure we hit the fuller length and making the better play.
Did he really say that? Oh, I see what you meant, Lawrence, in the comment section, the sexy bounce. That's hilarious. Okay, yeah. Nazir, your thoughts on that? That's actually quite funny.
Yeah, nah, showed some personality there, no doubt about it. But it is facts. We've seen plenty of times where on bouncy wickets, people just try and bowl short. And I'm sure a lot of these Australian batsmen have played on bouncy wickets, so it's not going to be something that's new to them. They're probably expecting that. So definitely that's facts. Even though he's making it, calling it sexy bounce, whatever he wants to do, it's facts.
Yeah, sooner or later we're gonna get a little TikTok video called "Sexy Bounce." Look here, when it comes to the bowlers and the way we manage it, I love the way what he said over here, because I wish that was the same in our batting attack. Because having the likes of KG there to be able to give insight to the rest of the guys and help them with information about the pitches. It's amazing to have that. And Keshav Maharaj's experience and the experience of Andrik Nokia bowling in other conditions, in other conditions, that having these experienced guys that have done it in other countries really helps the newer guys like Marco Jansen, etc., to come in and settle a lot easier. We don't have the same thing in our batting attack. Dean Alga is out of form. Okay, yes, he scored in the warm-up game, but other than that, he's been out of form. And with regards to Temba, we're hoping that Temba's mentally ready for this because he hasn't really necessarily been 100% fit throughout this particular period now, mentally as well, not fit. Then you have the likes of Rassi Federation coming back into the team again. Hopefully he can get some. He got some runs in the warm up. Hopefully he can continue that over. But it's a lot of inexperience in this batting attack. And when things fail, and I asked Ryan Rickleton the same question, and he actually agreed. He said because I said when the chips are down and everything's failing and everybody around you is not performing, there's no one to turn to in the dressing room as a batter, and that's a concern for me because they weren't all in form and it was difficult for them to turn to anybody because even Dean Alger, for example, in England was struggling. So it's a tough situation we have right there. I wish we did our transitions better and planned out the transitions better, but we are in the situation that we are. And I think considering the circumstances, Malibung Maketa, I feel, has handled the press well and he's handled, I feel, the situation well. I don't see necessarily any players unhappy in the camp or anything, or I haven't heard any rumors about that. I've heard good things from him about him from the players. So I'm hoping cross fingers that it does obviously carry over into the match itself. Let's continue with this, and then I want to get Stuart's on thoughts on the next point.
So did you say sexy balance?
Yeah.
So actually, my question on, as after 2 years as Otis Gibson's assistant, you were seen as the next in line with the heir to the job. You were then put in charge of the A team and academy and various, and it just seemed like a danger that you were going to be sidelined. And I just wanted to know how it feels actually to be behind the wheel for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's been a great challenge. I think working at international level, it's not something that just get given to you, so you have to earn it. I'd like to believe I've done that, and working with our best players that we have in the country, and the skill that they're really executing it at the level that they are working at. For me personally, it's a goal achieved, knowing that it's only interim, but challenging these players to come in here and really do well, I feel like it's a great honor. It is a great honor.
So, sort of following on from that, what sort of environment has it been coming into it? How important is the role, or what sort of role has Dean played for you? And
Imagine that
we
you
know it's
gave
been-
up, that every time they said you couldn't, you agreed.
Aye.
and how has that relationship been developing? What sort of captain do you see him as?
Well, I've played a support role to Mark Boucher. In many ways, I'm from high performance. So in England, I was there for the first test at Lords. So I really worked with the players on a
Sorry, not a lot of people actually know that he was there. A lot of people actually don't know that information, so it's good that he actually mentioned that.
consistent basis. So it was not foreign coming in. I've been touching base with each and every one of them in most of the test series that we've played in. So from that point of view, it's been almost seamless transition. And working with Dean, it was important for me that we don't use this period as an excuse that we didn't have this or we didn't have that. So Dean has been a consistent voice, and I've made sure that we drive on that. And I try and support him as much as possible in terms of getting and keeping what we've been doing well for a long period of time to come.
I have to ask, there's probably two parts to this question. Obviously, this is the first rematch since what went down in 2018.
Oh, there we go.
Potentially have a little bit of a mental edge over Australia, given the history there. And the second part of that is there is obviously one player that's particularly perhaps mentally vulnerable, obviously, given his form recently in David Warner. Do you feel like the way your bowlers are bowling at the moment, you can particularly attack them at the top?
Well, yeah. The first part of the question, I think it's when you come through those situations, sometimes it galvanizes the team. I know it was nothing pleasant to go through what they've been through, and some of the players are still paying for those mistakes. And I feel for us coming now, opening old wounds would probably bring them closer together as a unit, which means for us, we really need to be up for the challenge come the first ball on Saturday. And into your second question, David has always brought a lot of intensity against us, and we don't expect anything different. And we've bowled really well to him as well, and we're looking forward to the challenge. Yeah.
Given that history and that there's been so many verbal, verbal between the sides of the previous to go more like that. Australia says they're not going to go the verbal route. Do you believe them? And if they do, fight on?
Well, we've always fight fire with fire, so it doesn't take much for our guys to step up when need be. I think we saw that when they were at home. We can't control what Australia does, and the only thing we can control is how we go about our business. And for us, is really making sure that we execute to the best of our ability from ball one.
Just with Timber, we saw him talk and come back about the second innings and get good work out in the match yesterday as well. What sort of impact do you think he can have on this series? Why is it so important to your team? Is there anything new on his?
Yeah, Timber was given an extended break after the World Cup, and he's been really batting really well in terms of since he joined the squad. Unfortunately, he couldn't bat in the first innings. We pushed him a bit hard in terms of the volumes of work that he did, that he had to do once we got here. And yeah, he's been our best batter, him and Dean, consistency-wise and experience-wise. He's been our best performing batter leading up now to this tour. So he's a very important member of the batting lineup, and I'm very confident that he will do really well here. He's been here before, and he knows the conditions. He knows the intensity that is brought in here, not only by the players, also by the crowd, everything that comes with the package of playing in Australia. So he's very important for us, and yeah, we look forward to his contribution.
Okay, so Stuart, I want to get your thoughts on this particular press conference, and maybe this will maybe help you a little bit. But the Lorenzo says Mali comes across as more dramatic, laissez-faire type player. Where Bouch came across more as an authoritarian. Will be interesting to see how the players react with Mali in charge. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think I don't know him that well as a coach, if I'm honest with you. But he does seem like he's quite relaxed, and I think it could be quite a nice, like I want to say, influence on the team, because you playing international cricket, you don't need to add more pressure. Well, I don't want to say add more pressure than necessary. Like, I think one of the key things is just keeping the players calm and giving them confidence, and it's quite interesting to like see that he actually has been in the setup for quite a long time, even under Bacha. So I think it's quite good. At least it's like a continuous. So I don't want to say it's like a completely different change, if that makes sense. It seems like there's at least a nice little continuation, and yeah. I like that he actually cracked the joke of the sexy bounce, because at first I was like, yo, this guy just seems very quiet, but it actually was nice that he made a joke about it. And, it's nice to see that they're actually realizing, it's just a sports match at the end of the day and trying to downplay the situation. But I saw Lawrence did ask an interesting question. I think it was directed at you. But he said almost every player or coach here, this one. Almost every player or coach here done the press is bringing up and criticizing the wickets. I do think that he's 100% right in saying that they have done this. And to me, like, I think it's almost time that we've run out of excuses, if that makes sense. I mean, Australia is, I don't want to say it's a batting friendly country because the wickets do have quite a bit of bounce and they can turn, and I'm a bit worried about Nathan Lyon as well. But usually, like in venues like Adelaide and the Gabba, you can get runs if you just put your mind to it. So I think we're almost out of excuses now. I think our batters really have to take accountability. Not that they haven't already, but they need to go and get big hundreds, whatever way the team's split.
Yeah, and I think he's spot on there. I think it is excuses. Because I've listened to many press conferences where they speak about the batting, and I mean, us normal fans can look at the issues and see what the problems are. I mean, if we can pick it up, then they should know as well what the issues are. You can't have batting coaches coming out saying they don't know what the issues are, and that's been happening since I've walked into this as a journalist in my first series. We played against India. That started there with the talk about us not knowing what the problems are against certain disciplines. We seem to always have an issue against one of the disciplines. First it's spin, then we overcome it. Now it's swing. Overcome. I don't know if we're going to overcome it yet, but ultimately, we always, when there's something a little bit extra in the wicket or something, then we seem to struggle because I feel like sometimes we don't really know, or the new players coming into the system, international cricket, sometimes they underestimate the amount of patience that they need in international cricket, and it's particularly as opening top order batters. Um, but yeah, Nazir, your overall thoughts of this particular press conference? You obviously watched it before we watched it today.
Yeah, one thing I didn't like too much about the press conference was a bit towards the beginning where he said the bowlers understand that they need to play a big role in making runs for the team. I think runs the bowlers the tail makes is bonus runs. I know it is like it's being seen lately that the tail does contribute a bit more, but in my eyes, it's the batsman's job to score the runs, and whatever the tail does is a bonus. So yeah, that's something I didn't like too much. It's kind of putting more pressure on the bowlers to score runs than the batsman, which is not how it should be. And I also heard Rasi speak earlier in the week saying that he thinks the batters are being criticized a bit too unfairly, which I don't understand how he can say that because who scored runs? Nobody's performed in the last. Timber is
Yeah, Timber's the only one, and I think we lost Nazir. Yeah, we lost him. He can reconnect, and I think I know what he's going to say. He's saying that obviously Temba is one of them, but I mean Temba hasn't even hit 100, and yet he's one of our most consistent players, which is scary to know that. I think also losing Quentin de Kock when we did really made things very difficult on South Africa because we would have then had 3 players of experience rather than only 2. And when Temba got injured before and wasn't playing Test cricket, we only had 1. So it's been a proper problem, our batting and the approach. But I also believe that we need to pick players that have good conversion rates in domestic cricket.
Yeah.
That's the best way we can almost guarantee that they're going to be perform at the top level. Let's continue with Nazir quickly.
sorry, where did I get cut off?
Yeah, you said Temba and then cut.
Yeah, I think Timber was
That one wasn't you talk about Temba.
nah. I think Timber is the only guy who's actually performed half decently in our Test batting lineup. So I don't think what Rasi said is fair. I think the team is criticized fairly. The batsmen are criticized fairly because they haven't performed. I mean, half of the batting lineup, Tienus de Bruin, Rasi, those are probably our 3 and 4 or 5 or something like that. They're not even in the team. They're just coming in now. So the batsmen haven't been performing. So you can't be saying stuff like they're being criticized unfairly, in my opinion.
You know, at least to it, we can take some sort of comfort from the fact that Australian wickets are relatively similar to South Africa. Maybe they are a little bit more, obviously, a little bit more green, a little bit more looked after, obviously, a lot better than the stadiums are a lot better than in South Africa. But ultimately, it's still, to an extent, people say that it's quite similar in certain grounds, etc. So I don't think that the batters that are available um, will face the same issues, I think, like they did in England when the ball is moving around and they haven't seen that happen before, or they're bowling or they're batting in Indian conditions where the ball is spinning 300 like crazy angles. So, are you a little bit more confident going into this than you were going into England?
Yeah, I mean, like it's been well documented. Like our batters struggle against the ball moving, whether it's seam or swing. I mean, if you look at, I even watched the Warriors play. I think it was Western Province yesterday, and you even saw like guys like Tony DeZorzi, who's been in great form and a phenomenal player, struggle with the ball moving from steering run. So, I mean, I don't think the ball should, I don't want to say move as much as it did in England. So I'm a bit more confident from that perspective. But I mean, I'm totally agreeing with like my reason for the 7-4 split is I'm not confident in the batters. And I don't think that it's fair to get the bowlers worried about bowling to guys like Steve Smith and Travis Head and Marnus in that top order and having to worry about putting on another 60 or 70 runs. So, look, I mean, I'd have loved to have seen guys like Tony DeZorzi, Jordan Herman, maybe Mark Ackerman get a go, but can't really talk about the guys who aren't there. So, I mean, for me, if I totally agree with what Lorenzo said. If the wicket's flat, definitely play the extra seamer because you've got to manage the workload of the bowlers. And we all know how hot Australia is going to get. But if it's like, a hard pitch where you can see the ball's going to move around a little bit and, Stark and Cummins are going to be hitting top of off 5 out of 6 balls in a row, then I would consider the 7th batsman. And I know it sounds a bit conservative, but I really am just a bit worried about it.
I mean, Australia do know how to move the ball after 20 overs, so.
There it is.
Let's. So I really think that because it's Australia, I think the guys will be extra motivated, and because it's Australia, so I'm at least hoping that we can match their energy or go beyond their energy, at least in approach. If we don't end up winning the match, at least I want to see them put in an effort, not like against the Netherlands where they're coming out there with no energy and looking all weird and shit. So I'm hoping that they will come out with energy, with the mentality and mindset of, you know what, we're not going to back off from you guys, we're going to try and beat you. And that's all we want to see, I think, as South African fans. Let's get your final thoughts, guys. Nazir and then Suet.
Yeah, I'll definitely be up on Saturday morning to watch. But what I really want to see is our batsmen finally stepping up with whoever we pick. I just want to see some runs. I think if it's a flatter pitch, I think it doesn't favor us at all because their batsmen are better than ours and they'll score 400 easily and we won't. So flat pitches, I'm more happy with a wicket that's moving a lot and making best use of our bowlers, which is our strength. As I said, I'd probably go with the 6-5 split. I don't know if Kaya Zondo is going to play. I mean, he's been the guy who's basically been there all this time. So I don't know if he's going to play. Luckily, we have someone in form there now in Ryan Rickleton. So, he's not playing. I forgot about that. So we don't have anyone in form at all. But yeah, let's hope someone finds form and our batsman can runs.
Taking shots. I mean, he scored another 100 yesterday. Oh my god,
He
the
just
boy.
doesn't stop scoring runs.
Yeah, it's incredible that the way this actually panned out. Stuart, let's get your final thoughts.
I just thought after that Rickleton comments, I was ready for the mic drop. It was brilliant. No, look, I totally agree. I mean, Lorenzo made a very good point again about the body language of the players. And I think for me, that's very important over the 5 days. We know it's going to be hot. We know one of their top 5 batters is probably going to score a big 100, whatever way we decide to pick the squad. I just don't want to see them lose their head throughout the 5 days. My biggest thing, and I was thinking about it because I picked my team before we did this thing in case we had to do it. But the biggest thing I was just a bit like thinking about is, do you go? I don't know if Ngidi was in the squad. Hey, if I'm not mistaken, was he? Yeah, I was kind of umming and ahhing between Lungi Ngidi and Gerald Coetzee because I thought Gerald Coetzee could give that fear factor in the first game, but I ultimately did go with Ngidi because I thought it's quite a similar bowler to Hazelwood. So in terms of pace, and he can move the ball a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see, like with the matchups. I mean, you've got Janssen who competing against Stark. You've got Dean Algo competing against David Warner. It's going to be a very, very interesting series, and I just hope that we're proactive rather than reactive.
Okay, good points there. You see, with Gerald Coetzee as well, I mean, there is definitely a fear factor with his 150 pace, but it's almost like I think it's almost like a backup for Andrich Nokia more than anything else. If Andrich Nokia pulls out or whatever, something happens to him, maybe then we'll see Gerald. I think he's still very inexperienced, and I think soon he needs some time, obviously more test cricket, and he needs to play some test cricket, more 4-day cricket, I feel. It was a surprise selection, in my opinion, actually.
Yeah,
I
I think
know
it's accuracy.
yeah, the accuracy is, he's still young, and his accuracy is not necessarily 100% there yet. Like, he does sometimes miss the mark. So that's something that I think it's perfect for him to be on the tour, actually, because then he'll learn from the likes of Andrich and KG and the way they approach the game and according to the conditions. This is why I say I like to have youngsters in the squad, is because you can only learn from being there. You can watch on TV and whatever the case may be, but it's not the same as actually being there and having the conversations with the coaches, with the bowlers about the actual conditions in front of you. So that's my opinion on it. Let me just go through some of the comments that were made over here. Musa Bas says, after the horrendous decision by Dean Alger not asking for a review on his wicket against the Palms, I was turned off by his captaincy. Hopefully he can redeem himself, but I was not convinced by him. Michael says, I would really like to see batsmen to score 4 or 500s in the upcoming series. Lauren saying the promo was lit. It was very lit. So please go to, I think it's called 7 Cricket, at 7 Cricket on Twitter. I would like to play it for you guys, but I'm not sure if it's going to cause problems on my side with regards to demonetizing and all of those type of things. So that's the only reason why I'm not playing it for you guys. Otherwise I would have. We've read some of these comments, obviously, from Lorenzo and Lawrence. Samuel Hector saying, I don't think he will play. Who's he talking about? Wait, I missed that.
I think it was Klaasen.
Was it Klaasen? Oh, I don't think Klaasen will play. It says it in. What's wrong with me? Long day, guys. Was it the WSL all day? Didn't sleep last night. I'm working on like no sleep at the moment, so it's a bit of a problem. But I'm getting there. But Kai Majorowic's also on. Hopefully we're gonna go down with Kai Majorovic on Saturday. And go and try and cover some of the games or get some interviews going over there, because the WSL is ending tomorrow and there's going to might be a media opportunity for us to speak to anybody that's there. So I'm hoping that that's going to be an awesome opportunity for me to do that. And of course, we know that the test series starts on Saturday. So yikes. I don't know how I'm going to do everything, but we're going to need to find a way. Lorenzo says to end off, I think Gerald is only in our team to learn more by playing in the highest level, and I think that is exactly what he's there for. Guys, wait, one more comment from Colin Walker. Khalid, should Klaasen play with his record? Australia been very good, and his ability to counter spin, which would prove crucial against Australia, and also since he can play the short ball really well. Out of the batters that can be picked as the 7th, I probably would lean towards Tiernus de Brain because of his experience. Having played for South Africa, but based on form, if I'm going with form, then I would go with Klassen. Um, and if it dependable on where the others bat, because if they're going to play the extra batter and as a number 3 or number 4, then obviously everybody shifts down. But if they're going to bring in the batter as a 7 or a 6, then in my opinion, I would bring in Klaassen instead of Tiernus de Bruin in that particular occasion because he is the one that's in form. I don't know what your guys' thoughts on that is. Let's just get that final thought before we go.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Tiernus de Bruin has really fought for his spot back. I think he deserves it. I think the only reason we've won tests in recent past when we haven't done too badly is because of the way we fought and the Dean Elgar kind of way. And I think people who really epitomize that is Tiernus de Bruin. He did that against Sri Lanka, if you guys remember correctly. He really fought. We lost that game, but he just fought for the team. And I think in Australia you need that, especially in the conditions. I think he would really step up when he's getting chirped. Even Rassi. I think those two batsmen, in my opinion, when they getting put under pressure by the bowlers, getting talked to, I think they'll step up. So I'd go with those two, and I'd probably leave Kayas on.
If I'm not mistaken, I remember them asking him a question about the batting and why it was so poor, and then he answered, "But I scored 100." So, Stuart, your thought on this? Is it Klaas or Tiernus if for that extra batting spot or Kayos under, or which one is it for you? If they do go for the 7.
I thought Tiernus de Bruin was coming in as a direct replacement for Keegan Peterson. So I thought the plan was originally for him to bat 3, but when I watched the Titans the other day, he was batting 4, and I wasn't sure where he batted in the warm-up game. So it'll be quite interesting to see how they fit him in. But I had Klaassen as my number 7. So I had Verena 6 and then Klaassen 7. And I had Tiernus at 4. So I didn't really put Zonda in, but yeah, that's how I set it up.
Yeah, it does. The replacement for Keegan is the interesting one. Yes, I completely forgot about that. But I also automatically thought that maybe Rassi will just come in there and slot in a 3-way as well. But there's still spot for Tiernus, even if that happens. I think both of them can play. Both Klaassen and De Bruin can both play in the team. I think it's going to be a toss-up probably for the 7th between if Kaya Zonder's going to play or Marco Jansen. So it's going to be interesting. Okay, guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to smash the like button, comment, share, subscribe, and click the notification bell for all future videos. Also, download the latest issue of Cricket Fanatics magazine monthly. Every issue is 100% free, straight to your inbox every month. The link is on the screen right now, as well as in the description. Marco Jansen on the front cover gives us insight into his winning mentality, which I believe that he does have from talking to him multiple times, etc. He's always come across as a person that has an incredible, strong mindset. So please go and download that. If you want to help us grow and promote South African cricket, or you want to help us as a company grow, please become a Patreon today. The link is on the screen as well as in the description. There are different tiers that you can get involved in. And then go to cricketfanaticsmag.com for your regular updates. Guys, for the review shows, I'll be going live directly after the game as per usual. And based on how I'm feeling with regards to tiredness, etc., and whatever, because there's One Day Cup games to cover the Sunday, there's other games happening, Kaimajolo Week's happening at the same time, so a lot of things to do. Depending on how I'm feeling, I might do a daily show as well on top of it at the normal slot. So I'll keep in touch with you guys to keep you guys in the loop of what's going to be happening. But our previous shows will happen in this slot, 7 or 8 o'clock. It will be either or, dependable on load shedding and all of those type of things as well. So I try to pick the best time that's going to suit us regarding that. I don't know if the guys from overseas know that we're suffering load shedding, which is terrible. Hours and hours on end without electricity. So it makes it very difficult for us to do this as we're doing, but we're trying our best. Guys, thanks a lot for tuning in, Stuart. Nazir, thank you a lot for tuning in, and we'll see you guys all very, very soon. Take care and enjoy the rest of your evening and also your weekend. Peace out.